That's right. The Spurs have dodged a major bullet with Kevin Durant going to the Houston Rockets for a ton of picks and some high value players. Let's get right into that trade right now because Kevin Durant is headed to Houston. That's right. The 15-time NBA All-Star was traded for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, a number 10 pick, and 5 second-round picks. That's 6 picks and 2 players. That is a lot to give up for Kevin Durant. However, everybody wanted in on the Kevin Durant sweepstakes, including the San Antonio Spurs. We have made hundreds of videos speculating about Kevin Durant. When you asked me who I preferred, Giannis or Kevin Durant, to me, Kevin Durant was a much better fit. However, Spurs fans, did you guys want to give up this much? Do you feel better now that you realize how much Houston had to give to win the sweepstakes that is Kevin Durant? To me, I do not know if the Spurs are in position to give up this many picks, to give up this much talent, especially when you compare it, right? When you look at a guy like Jalen Green, borderline all-star, right? Borderline 1 or 2 option on your team and is young, so he could be the future of a franchise. I don't know what players outside of Castle, Fox, and Wemby, which are untouchable, right, would fit that. Then you look at Dillon Brooks. I think we have a ton of Dillon Brooks guys, right? Like I think Dev and Keldon more fall into that range, possibly a little better. And then the number 10 pick and then 5 second-round picks. So when you look at this trade, the Spurs would have had, without a choice, have had to given up the number 2 pick and players as well. I think you do look like they got to give up Sochan. I think they got to give up Keldon, maybe even Dev. Like that is a real possibility if the Spurs wanted Kevin Durant, right? Like the Spurs were like, no matter what, and I think that's where Houston was at. Houston was like, okay, no matter what, we want Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant puts us over the hump. I do not know if giving up all of that in San Antonio's shoes makes them a contender. Houston was right there, right? Houston was in the playoffs. Houston was one of the better teams in the West. Houston was a player away. Don't know. I'm really surprised about the Jalen Green thing because you would have thought he was part of that future. However, you got to give up to get a star, right? So to me, Kevin Durant fits perfectly. Houston did a great job. And again, I think Kevin Durant adding him makes them one of the favorites in the West. I don't know if they are favorite in the West, but at least you look at them and say, okay, they at least go make a push for the Western Conference Finals. I do not know if giving up all that and adding Durant makes that true for the Spurs. I truly do not know where that would put them. And again, you sacrifice a ton of real estate, you sacrifice a ton of future to get a guy like Kevin Durant, who we have seen, and to me, one of the best players I've ever seen, one of my favorite players. But what are you going to get, 1 or 2 years out of Kevin Durant before he leaves again? Or before he's just done hooping? Like, like those are questions you have to ask. Like the Houston Rockets, they're in win now mode. San Antonio Spurs still need some time. So I don't think giving up all of that for Kevin Durant would have really worked in our favor, personally. I don't think the Spurs fans would have been happy with the result of giving up all of that. Because again, I think we in the playoffs with Kevin Durant. I think we win some games. I think we're scary to a lot of teams, especially with a guy like Wemby, Fox, Castle next to him. However, I do not know if giving up so much of your future is worth the risk for the Spurs. It's definitely worth the risk for Houston. I think Houston had no choice but to do this. They have everything they need right now with essentially a new coach doing his first full season. All these new pieces. Again, you haven't seen what these guys can do healthy. I'm very happy that Brian Wright didn't give up a king's ransom for Kevin Durant because, again, I do not know if we're in the same position as Houston. Like, again, Houston was a playoff team. We were not. We were not. So, like, Houston is that, like, 1 player away, 2 player away type deal. I do not know if the Spurs are there. Yeah, I think they can be, but I also think they can be with their current roster. And now you look at this and you say, okay, now what do the Spurs do? Because Giannis seems to be off the table. Kevin Durant seems to be off the table. Jaylen Brown, there hasn't been much talk about that. So you got to imagine they stay at number 2 and get Harper. Maybe those later picks they use to get a veteran or something like that. But I think getting that star to come to San Antonio that everybody was hoping for, I think that dies after this story. And I hope it does. Because I'm not a big rumors guy. Like, the job is to talk about rumors. The job is to speculate when news comes. However, I think a lot of this stuff was just us being hopeful, right? Like, I think Spurs fans need to relax a little bit and sit back and look at what we already have. And imagine what that can be with a few extra pieces, a few extra veterans. I don't know if a star is necessary because you possibly have 3 stars on your team right now. You have Fox, Stephon Castle, who could be a future star of this league for a lot of years. And then, of course, you have Wemby, the star of the NBA. So really think about it. That's 3 stars right there. What do you need next to 3 stars? You need role players. You need guys that the Spurs have a ton of. So now, okay, let's go maybe get some size. Let's go. Like, I know those big names feel good, especially when you're a Spurs fan and when you go into the Spurs arena and they have all of these banners, all of these retired jerseys, right? Star power is a thing in San Antonio. You might not always think about it, but it is a thing. San Antonio Spurs have had star after star, Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. So I get the need and want as a Spurs fan. But remember, we wanted Fox and we got him. Yes, it didn't work out, but I mean, he didn't get to play with his whole team. He was trying to get adjusted. He wasn't healthy. Y'all got y'all star. Fox is there. That is what we have been waiting for this time last offseason. It's there. I don't think anybody knew Castle was going to turn into what he was, but Castle is incredible. So Spurs fans, feel good. Do not feel like we missed out on Kevin Durant, because again, man, that was a lot of future real estate to give up for a guy that, again, maybe 3 years you're going to get out of him if you're Houston. Maybe. Well, if you keep him happy, right? You have the right coach there. You know, he might end his career there. However, we haven't seen that. We've seen Kevin Durant jump. And we've seen teams give up real estate for that, right? Can't wait to see what Houston looks like. Can't wait to see what Phoenix looks like. But to me, this is not bad news if you're a San Antonio Spurs fan. This is not bad news at all. But I want to hear from you guys. How y'all feeling? When you first saw Kevin Durant was going to be a Rocket, did you get sad? Did you get upset? Are you worried because he's right up the street now? Or are you saying, okay, I was not willing to give it up? Let us know what you think. Let me know what you feel right now. I know this is big breaking news. This is huge news for the NBA and for the Western Conference. Who do you want to see the Spurs go after now? Now that these guys are off the table, who do you think the Spurs should ask? Let us know. Talk to us about it, because we want to hear. Make sure, of course, you hit that subscribe button. Of course, make sure you hit that doorbell to be notified every single time we post, because I got a feeling this is just the start of a lot of big NBA news coming up. The draft is right around the corner. We have a lot of great things to talk about, so make sure you don't miss anything, because on Spurs Digest, we covering it all. I'm Bryan Colbert right here to drop that breaking news. Kevin Durant is headed to Houston. He headed back to Texas, but not to San Antonio, to Houston. Again, Spurs fans, let us know how you feel. Drop the comments, man. Let us know how you feel. And do you think Houston is a favorite now? Do you think the Spurs might still be better than Houston on paper? I want to hear all of it. Let's talk about it. Again, I'm Bryan Colbert here with Spurs Digest. I'll holler at y'all real soon.